Boom. Welcome. Let's see if we can get this camera going correct. Uh, let's go here. Good stuff. Yes. All right. We'll leave it at here. Let's go. As we wait for people to come in, where are you coming from? Boom. I'll start Long Beach, California. And then we'll figure this camera situation out. Maybe I'll just look up the whole time. It's always fun how this works out. Let's see. California, Canada, New Jersey, Canada, Arizona, Nova Scotia. Amazing. A lot of Canada. It's been amazing. I've had a lot of Canadian athletes come and travel with me. See more and more Canadian athletes coming to American college. I think it's really cool. I know sports culture is just a little different Canada, so it's been really fun to see how many Canadians have actually traveled. Georgia, Kansas City, amazing. Also, who will be at Triple Crown? So I'll be at Triple Crown. I have a couple one-on-one athletes I work with and athletes that I've worked with. Maybe for like 3-4 months, I come out and I like to watch them. So I have a couple athletes. One just made A5's team. It's been an amazing glow up for her. Small team in Chattanooga, made a team in Atlanta last year. Now it's on the top A5 team. So I'll come watch her. I'm really excited to see that. And then just talk with parents. I really, really enjoy speaking, meeting new parents, new coaches. Of course, talk with a lot of college coaches as well. It's awesome. While we wait for everyone to come in, let's see. What is your athlete's goal with volleyball? Is it just to have fun playing a sport, making varsity? Is it making a top club team, to play in college, or get a scholarship to a top NCAA team? It's very unique, the athletes that come to me, and just see the wide range. I've been really fortunate to work with a top USA NTDP athlete. She will go to Indiana in 2 years. And then I work with some athletes who, just really excited to play volleyball, play varsity. I enjoy working with higher athletes just because I think I can speak to that level of athlete better than any other coach can. I think if it's a 12-year-old athlete, there's a lot of coaches that can help. But as I'll talk about as well, it's not just the technical. I think sport is very beautiful because it's a vehicle for life. And I think, as most parents know, probably every parent in here, what your athlete is going through, you understand. But the channel to communicate there is probably not so clear because of that conditional relationship. So I really enjoy the emotional intelligence part and working with a lot of athletes whose parents are consultants. They sports psychology at a very high level, but it's not always getting through to their teenager. And very often I'll say similar thing, but it just kind of connects a little bit better because I don't have that conditional relationship. So let's see. Playing NCAA a lot. That's awesome. Making a top club team. Very cool. There's no right or wrong. As I mentioned, I believe, especially now out of sport, the beauty of sport is so teenagers can become young men and women, and then eventually fathers, mothers, wives, husbands, and great people, right? So let's get into it. I always struggle with this. It's been a while since I've done one of these. This is amazing. And then as you guys throughout today, just write questions. Any questions you have, I'm here. I don't do these very often anymore. I used to do these maybe every 3 months. I think the last one I did was 6 months ago. So if you guys have a question, you have me here. I'll stay and answer as many questions as possible. I want you guys to leave with as much clarity and confidence to help your libero navigate club season. Because what I've found out being back in America is it is very toxic. It is out of control. But that's also the beauty, right? So you guys ask questions here. I'm sure you guys can all see this. Please ask questions, as many. Also, I think a lot of the feedback I get from parents when they come and either work with me one-on-one or they come to the clinics in Long Beach, They just don't understand the sport. They want to understand it so they can have a part in their athlete's journey. It's, baseball, football, it's pretty easy. Go outside and throw the ball. Basketball, shoot the ball. Volleyball is just such a different beast. So let's get into it. Let me pull this up. Why won't it let me? Let's see. Entire screen, Chrome tab. Okay. Let's see. Sometimes I struggle with this, but we'll figure it out. We got some good slides today. Is that working? Nope. Come on now. Oh, yeah. Okay. Gosh darn it. Bear with me. It's been a while, and I cannot pull this up on my second screen. Why is that? Huh. All right. As I get going, guys, please write any questions. As I get going, I'm going to bring this up here as I try and figure this out. One thing I think is I'm really interested. What is the frustration of club volleyball, right? Because I hear a lot of people talk about this and come to my clinics and speak, but just really understanding what is the biggest frustration. Gosh darn it. Why is there overlay? Okay, there we go. Whew, stress. I love it. All right. This should work. Oh. Oh my gosh. Come on now. Let me go. Patience. Yeah. All right, I'm just going to pull this up all the way. Awesome. We'll figure this out. Okay. Let's see. Athlete isn't getting specific coaches, 18. Yeah, I love it. As we'll go into it today, it's just really sad for me because no, I'll get into it. All right. So yeah, today's the day where you'll gain more confidence to empower your libero to have the best club season ever. That's it. I don't have a child, but when I do have a child, I just want to see them find something that they're passionate about and that they can grow, they can fail, and they have a framework where even when they're failing, they can take more responsibility and accountability. That's life, right? But you know what? I think right now it's just this realization like club volleyball is completely out of control. I think it seems a lot of coaches are unconsciously coaching for their own ego. There is very rarely any personal development, right? And that's because the coaches are fixed on winning, going back to coaching for their ego. It is, it's a reflection of them. Kid does well, they feel good. Team does well, they feel good. Get a bid, they feel good. Team doesn't do well, maybe they feel embarrassed, they feel insecure, they don't know how to act around parents, they never really won as an athlete. And so now everything is projected onto the kids, right? And now the athlete's worth is corresponding to their level, and their wins. And going back to the coaching, it's very difficult. A lot of parents will come in and be like, "Oh, the coaching's great. Our coach does this and that." And I'm like, "Hey, like we need to like actually have compassion for the coaches. The head coach is supposed to know 5 very specific positions: tactics, rotations, running a practice, scheduling, emotional intelligence, recruiting, talking with parents. They probably have another job and they probably have a family. They don't have time to really understand the sport at depth." And then when I was playing, it was lucky that my assistant coach would come and not be hungover. So you got one coach really doing all the work. And as a libero, and I think as a parent for the libero, it's still probably not enough, because how is your athlete actually developing their DS? How can they actually be the libero? What do they need to do to play better, to pass flow serves? We'll go into that. Then go to the next level. So it's very, very difficult, right? But what I've seen with the one-on-one athletes I've worked in, just horror stories of how coaches act, treat, and speak to their athletes. One specific instance was at nationals. The coach had everyone sit in a circle and go around and ask each player to say why they don't trust the person to their right. And it's sad and it's sick, right? It's really unfortunate. But then again, in these situations, in these environments, it's also the perfect opportunity for teenagers to take more responsibility for their growth. That's it. And I've been in a lot of really difficult situations. And when I look back to these situations, I'm just so grateful I was in those situations, right? But I grew up in a different time. Now with social media, it's just fixed mindset. It's if you're winning, you're great. If you're good, it's awesome. You're a value to the team, to society. And if you're not, then you're a failure. And then sadness, and there's shame, anxiety. And the thing is, I know this all too well. So real quick introduction for those that don't know who I am. My name is Dustin Watton. I played 13 years as a professional libero. That's so crazy to say. I was on the team that won the World Cup in 2015. It was our last gold medal for USA. Creative Libero Academy. Before that, All-American at Long Beach State. But it was really slow to get going. It was really slow for me to get going. I started when I was 14. I love this image, actually. This is, I'll talk about this. This is there's a thing called a Fab 50 when I was a senior in high school, 50 best players in the nation. And yeah, I wasn't on it. There wasn't a lot of guys playing volleyball back when I played, and I still wasn't even on it, right? My first club team got last place at nationals. I made a twos team. I was so excited. I didn't know. Parents had to pay a check, and I made the team. No youth national team, no junior national team, no Fab 50. Only 2 colleges spoke with me. I was a walk-on to my local school at Long Beach State. I have redshirted at Long Beach State. My first full season as a starter was my 4th year. And then I had no pro contract my first year after NCAA. And then my first year traveling with the national team was my 6th year. So for about 6 years, I was just a volunteer assistant. For some of those years, making $250 a month, really not doing anything. But it's been an amazing journey. And one of those experiences, I just was in Poland coaching the federation. So it was really cool because I spent 6 years in Poland, and I got to go back and coach 2 groups of Polish coaches. One of the coolest experiences I've had in my life, to be able to coach not only youth coaches, but professional coaches as well. So it was really beautiful. And when I went there, I told a storyline of kind of how I started teaching, right? In my 9th year, I played in Poland. I was 9th in reception. It was okay, right? The year after that, 21st, right? There's a saying in Poland, a foreigner can have a great first year, but not everyone can have a good second year. I got absolutely worked, right? And I think like most club athletes, I didn't know what was going on. I'm trying to pass the ball well, but I'm just some games good, some games bad. Some games good, some games really ugly. In the last game I played in Poland, I got wrecked. I got 49 serves as a libero. Just absolutely embarrassing. Struggling, shanking float serves. They're targeting me in one. I mean, you can just see like these are terrible touches. But I was just doing what I was told. Very vague suggestions. Move your feet, pass the ball in front of you, drop the shoulder, hold the angle. Ball knows the angle. Yeah, ball knows the angle into the ground. And we'll talk about it a little bit. A lot of coaches teach float serve passing with the thought that the ball isn't going to move. Float serves float. And nobody teaches float serve passing as if the ball will and can float. It's really odd for me, but I'm doing them more lately. So the year after that, I went to Berlin. Big team in Europe. I got benched, absolutely destroyed. And then I had Ostatnia Chance, last chance. And so when I went back to Poland, my agent was able to get me back, just absolutely unreal. And that's when I started writing about volleyball, right? Writing was on the wall. This is probably it. If I don't play well, it's done. So I started working for a professional coach and just started writing about volleyball. And I realized there's so many things. I don't really know what I'm doing. High flow serves, high jump serves. I don't really know what I need to do towards a positive correlation. And so I just started dropping everything I was told, everything. And I just sat at my computer in a little freaking Polish village and just every day just tap, 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 just watching the best liberos in the world, trying to find patterns. Why are they so much better than me, right? It's just angles. What are they doing that's so different? And so I think like a lot of female athletes, someone tells me what to do and I'm just like, yeah, makes sense. Hold the platform. Ball, oh yeah, makes so much sense. Don't move my feet before the serve. Don't move my feet after. Yeah. But I don't really understand it. And I just did it. And then it didn't work. And at the highest level, feelings of anxiety, feelings of shame. So I started writing more. I started watching more. And I started finding patterns with the feet, pattern on contact. Hey, actually, a lot of these liberos, nobody's holding their platform. But I was told to hold the platform. Nobody's holding the platform. And it's not just like patterns in Polish liberos. It's patterns in the best Polish liberos, the best French liberos, and the best Japanese liberos, and the best Brazilian liberos. And I was thinking, like they're probably not on a group chat sharing these ideas, right? So seeing these, identifying these patterns and things I was struggling with, I started to use my discernment, slowly started working some of these intentions into practice, and I started growing like crazy. I went from 21st to 8th to 3rd, and then 2nd. It was the coolest thing ever. As I got older, I got faster, right? Using the split step and using a concept that tennis athletes, baseball athletes, even pickleball athletes use, but most volleyball athletes are told not to use it. And it was amazing. I started to have a lot of fun. Because again, I think like most youth athletes, some games good, some games suck. And then it's just like this, oh, it sucks. It's so frustrating. What am I doing? But I started to take more control and understanding correlations, right? Rather than focusing on being a good defender and a good passer, what do I need to do consistently in practice to become a good defender? What do I need to do consistently in practice to become a good receiver? And then watching and understanding the film. All right, so it's just an absolute beautiful journey. And then since then, leaving volleyball 3 years ago, I've traveled around the world and brought some of the best liberos in the world to Long Beach to learn from them. Starting with Krebenikov, who's won the last 2 gold medals and was voted the best libero in the Olympics, the last 2 Olympics. I went to Brazil to work with Sergio and Serginho. Sergio won the 2016 Olympics and was the MVP. To say the least, that's completely the opposite how people are taught in the USA. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but a different perspective. And I really like this perspective. Serginho as well. And then I brought Zatorsky, 2-time world champion, 3-time Olympian, to live with me in Long Beach and did 4 clinics working with a range of different athletes. One of those is our NIL athlete, Ryan Merck from Penn State. So let's get into it. Float serve anxiety, right? I'm sure if you have an athlete and they play some games good, some games awful. What's going on? I'm sure you're watching like, what's going on today? Well, that day where they're struggling, the ball is probably floating more often, and the ball is probably floating last second. So one of the biggest things I did with my career, and this is very difficult for a teenager to do, to get every single action, all the negative actions at the end of the season and find patterns, right? And what I started to see in going into my 12th year was most of my shanks were outside my body. I'm a good libero. I can pass this ball. I can pass this ball. I can pass this ball. The ball in front of me, I can pass it. But if the ball floats last second, I don't move like this. I move with my shoulders and my hips. And now the angle and the trajectory is distorted, right? Very difficult. So just like a hitter and just like a setter, we should have a sweet spot. And I'm not just talking about where I contacted here, but where I'm contacting it on my body. I work with a lot of athletes and nobody really knows what to do. And when they do tell me, they tell me something that I think is actually really in deep correlation with them struggling. So when I work with athletes, I joke with them, but it's very important for this consent. What do float serves do? They float, right? That's why they're so hard. They're very difficult to predict. And when I say predict, the initial line and the line that I'm actually contact is very difficult. And when athletes are getting older, balls float more. Girls, guys get more physical. They have a better hand, better control. They're hitting it lower, they're hitting it flatter. And then the anxiety increases because nobody's really taught to pass float serves to be in a position to pivot when the ball floats last second, right? So it's big, right? We don't know how, when, where they will float. And after a bad serve reception, for me and a lot of athletes I work with, confusion, irritated, doubtful, maybe even ashamed. What am I doing wrong? I'm letting everyone down. Gosh, I let everyone down today. I felt so embarrassed. And this became very difficult because a lot of athletes will feel these emotions after the game, after the tournament, but also during the game. It's 10-7 and they're feeling shame. So how do you think they're going to pass the rest of the set, the rest of the second set, the rest of the third set? I've been in matches overseas where we're down 1-2 in the best out of 5. And I don't want the game to go to 5 sets because I just feel so ashamed with my inability to pass float serves. I'd rather lose than continue playing again. And again, I just didn't have a framework for passing float serves that float, right? So when working with athletes online or in person, I think it's really important. We need clarity to reverse engineer when things go wrong. And we need confidence in how we train. So when I break down film in the Libero Academy, I don't just use like hack athletes. I use the best in the world. The best in the world, Shank. So why? What are the inefficient patterns that they are also experiencing? And then how to break them down as well, right? And what I've seen, 4 different ways we shank balls. The ball is too far in front of us. The ball is too far behind us. The ball is too far to the side. Or the ball is midline and it floats last second. I'm not going to get so big into the midline, but just real quickly, midline can work. But if the ball floats last second, we just don't have many opportunities to contact it, right? So when I'm passing the float serve and the ball floats, I have to go backwards to get to the new contact point. But if my body is behind it, I can't get it. And nobody talks about this. That's why midline, we see so many shanks, especially poof or phew. Because when the ball floats, let's say it goes up, I'm not going to pass it here. So I'm going to try and go up and get it. But if I get jammed, it's because my elbows, 1 or 2, are in front of my body. This is midline, but also this is midline for me because this elbow's stuck. So when I work with athletes, rarely do I want my feet to be straight. Go into this a little bit more, but I want to open. There's a lot of, again, vague terminology, drop, step. I want athletes to like really see it and visualize it. So I have them open like a door. So that foot is a vehicle for the hips to open. So this is free. And when that ball floats, I have all this room to go back and get to the new line, and then I can shape it. But the very minimum, if I'm not passing on my forearms, we're not going to be successful. And then again, we're going to feel a lot of anxiety. So one of the first athletes I started working with was Zoe Fleck. played at UCLA, and then won a national championship at Texas. And just a sweet spot, right? Very specifically on a hip, left or right hip. It doesn't really matter. Some coaches say left is right is wrong. You got to find the most efficient way to pass balls consistently. It's just about efficiency, right? There's no tricks. There's no gimmicks. How can it be most efficient, right? So I like the ball on the hip. If we can get the ball on the hip in between the shoulder, I think that's really good. And even more specifically, in speaking with the Texas coaches, who are one of the best serving teams in the nation, they say the same thing, but the opposite when they're serving. For their servers, this is red. No, they don't want any serves here. Above the shoulders, yellow. Above the head, green. Awesome. Below the hips, yellow. Below the knees, green, right? So we want to invert that as a passer as much as we can. We want to get balls in between our shoulders and our hip. Very similar, let's say, to a spiker. They can kill balls like this, but not often. They're going to be their most efficient self when they're able to get a high contact point and they have range. We need to find also a very efficient sweet spot, right? Because when I work with athletes, I talk to them all the time, like, hey, how do you track the ball? What do you do? Nobody knows anything. Even when I was with the national team, I remember I shanked the ball that was high. My coach is like, hey, you got to track that better. I'm like, yes, coach, you're right. A couple minutes later, we go to water. I'm like, hey, what's a drill I can use to practice tracking? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, cool, awesome. Like, I want a solution. I want a solution. So many athletes want solutions so they can invest their time and see it correlate to them being a more confident, consistent passer, right? So real easy. In the Libero Academy, we have a complete course on tracking, breaking down what do flow serves do, 4 different ways, where we get jammed, where we get spun, breaking down Lexi Rodriguez, one of my other Noisy Buckets athletes who played at Nebraska, and then drills where we can track and the benefits of opening up, right? So important, right? So when we have these videos, breaking it down in a way where I can explain it and you can see it, a lot of these drills I think are really fun because you can go in the backyard and as a parent, you can work with your athlete. There's a lot of work that you can do in the backyard and just building this framework and start grooving more positive habits. Because unfortunately, most athletes have been grooved terrible habits, right? And it's called the subconscious of groove theory, where you just do something over and over and over, it becomes subconscious. So passing ball midline is one of the big things where as a young athlete, you learn passing midline and then it just sticks, right? So you need to de-groove this and create a new habit. So in this specific course, you see Kellen Larson, who won a national championship at Long Beach State. This was us 4 years ago. It's been really cool to see him grow and be able to work with him. And so inside a lot of different clinics, specifically with athletes. And then as I'll show, we just created the passing path. And so going even more specific where when athletes have pain points, hey, my coach says my feet aren't working. Okay, I got the split step. Hey, I'm having a hard time on high float serves. High float serve course. Short float serve course, right? The second key, right? We want to talk about this principle of time, right? Remember, ball's too far in front of us, ball's too far behind us, ball's too far to the side. We probably ran out of time. Nobody's trying to pass the ball like this, right? So we just ran out of time. If we had a little bit more time, maybe we're here. And so that's why the split step was so impactful for me. When we look at very average athletes, we see steps going everywhere, left, right, back, forward, rarely in alignment with where the ball is going. And that's because I call it assumption step, right? Our subconscious mind is tinkering and guessing where the ball is going to be, but it's not actually a conscious step. And then we get in a position where the ball is high on us, the ball's far on us, and if it floats, we're just absolutely dusted, feeling anxious, feeling ashamed, right? And I think why a lot of coaches have a lot of aversion to the split step is it can be done very poorly. A couple things, right? We can widen, we can jump into the court. When we do this, it's very difficult to move, or just in general, the timing is late, right? So very important in regards to training it to being very specific. For this athlete, you can see the ball crosses the net and then she splits. I want to split when the ball is off the hand, so we have the most amount of time to move, to consciously move, right? When I started talking about this, I got a lot of pushback, and it was hilarious because it's what we see in every other sport. Every tennis player uses a split step in reception, in rallies. Every youth tennis athlete is taught the split step at the youngest age possible because footwork is going to be the most important thing to get to the ball more consistently, right? But we're seeing more and more athletes figure it out. This is pretty cool. I went to Triple Crown 2 years ago, and I talked with Sarah Franklin, who was a National Player of the Year, and she was mentioning how she used the split step from watching Lexi. She was studying film and just so smart, right? So she used the split step because she needed to. She's passing two-man, right? She has a lot of court to take. Only two girls passing the whole court on a low net. It's crazy, right? So she's smart. She's going to be an amazing player. She's already with the national team. But not every athlete is like this, where they have access to video and they're going in and they're watching the best players and learning from them. Very similar to my journey as well, right? And so that's why it's so important for me to be able to break it down for athletes. Here's what to look for and why. This is why she's so good. Why is she good? Why was Lexi so good? Why was she 4 times the best passer in NCAA? It's because she's very good with her eyes and her feet. And when I worked with her and I interviewed her, I said, Lexi, okay, coach says don't use the split step. What would you say? She's like, I wouldn't do it. I'm like, why? Because my feet and my eyes work so well together, right? And so breaking it down, the timing, I break down Lexi, I break down the Brazilian libero, the Japanese libero, the Polish libero, the French libero, and we can all see the similar timing, right? Finding patterns where athletes can invest in these concepts and get the outcome that they want is to be a more consistent passer, right? I'm so passionate on this because my feet used to be a mess, right? Stepping all over the place, left, right. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what my feet are doing, right? That's not me intentionally taking all these steps. And then I get into an unbalanced position and then the ball floats shank. And then next time, same thing. His feet are all over the place. I get into an unbalanced position. And this time I'm lucky. Oh, ball didn't float. Yes, I can pass it perfect. But in general, we don't want to take this risk, right? Because more often than not, if we're unbalanced, we should expect that ball to float, especially if your child is looking to go play in college. They're playing in open. Girls are ripping float serves. More and more and more, we're seeing the float serve being used as a weapon, right? So split step is something I've gone in depth in. We have about 50 videos explaining the split step, breaking it down. The 4 tiers I think are really important, where athletes get it wrong, common mistakes, and then drills. Drills using men, drills using female athletes, young athletes, and then drills that you can do at home with your athlete, right? Really breaking it down in a way that it makes sense. Because when coaches say to track the ball, this is what they mean. They don't know how to coach it, but you need to connect the eyes and the feet in a meaningful way. And in a meaningful way is you have an intention. And then when you go home and watch video, you can reflect. Did I do the intention? Was my split step timing good? Did I have a consistent prep step? Am I landing balanced? Am I getting a first step towards the ball, or am I just guessing when I'm moving, right? Tip 3, I won't go into too deeply on this, but I will give you guys the PDF at the end. I'll link it. I really recommend athletes bringing this sheet to tournaments, right? That one-on-one athletes I work with, I tell them, bring this sheet to a tournament and you can make a positive perception for college coaches without even playing. Bring a sheet, track it, sit in front of college coaches when they're watching the game and track, right? Every server has tendencies, pro, high school, college. And this was something I did with Zoe a lot, right? So showing her and what she used to do in tracking, because she's small. She was about 5'5". She can't really physically take a lot of court, but she understands the tendencies. She's able to pinch. And instead of having to carry past 15, 16 feet of the court, she's just pinching because she understands these tendencies, right? Going back to getting the ball in the sweet spot more often, we can do a lot of work in understanding the server's tendencies in pinching the court. Just like in football and other sports, we can scout and we can get ahead of the server, right? So with this server, she would move, she'd change her hips, easy. Zoe just steps right, and then she's able to pinch, right? So I'll send this scouting report at the end. A couple things to look at: the server target, serve front row out, outside, hits their best serve, can't hit line, and then consistently thinking, where can we pinch, right? So real easy. I have a full course in how to scout servers and all the different things to look for and why using 6-on-6, right? For better athletes, right? I talk with a lot of college coaches and I'm like, hey, what are you looking for? What are you looking for in libero? How do you scout them? And what I consistently hear is it's hard to scout great liberos at tournaments because if they are great, they aren't served, right? So how do we do this, right? We got to figure out show and take. So this is the next level in pairing everything together. Scouting reports, split step, more efficient movement. Something I've heard a lot with athletes is 100% of the athletes I've worked with say they can't cross their feet over, which is silly. Same thing going back to tennis. Nobody's just shuffling back and forth on a tennis court. If they have time, they run, right? So being able to use more efficient footwork to take more court and then giving a better impression, right? This is me when I played in France and right before I got a huge contract in Poland because I was doing this stuff, right? Liberos are a dime a dozen, but if you can take up a lot of court, you can do show and take, you can lead, you can do fake show and take. It's a very easy way to stand out, right? Only for pros, this is something I worked with Mason on. So Mason played at Long Beach State, was a 4-time All-American, and then is now playing professional on the national team. And so he was able to do show and take for jump serves, for float serves, and got the best professional contract out of any libero coming out of America and went straight to France, which is unheard of, right? But you can see on that one doing a fake, and it's amazing, right? Only for guys, so many concepts that girls can't do. It's so silly, right? It's so silly. So with Lexi, same thing, show and take. When they played Wisconsin a couple of years ago, they were serving Harper Murray and was really struggling to side out. And then she was able to do some show and take, right? So move her out, pass it, nailed it. Next time, Sarah, thinking she's going to do show and take again. Lexi baits her, gets another serve. Amazing. And in the 5th set on game point, once again, doing show and take. And another reason why she goes straight to the national team, because she's taking more court. But here's the thing. Younger athletes can do this as well, right? So it's really cool. All 3 of the NCAA athletes I've worked with has done this. The athlete I'm working on the men's side right now is working on this as well. Our current athlete for the women's side is Molly Tuzo for Kentucky. We'll see if she can do it next year as well. But it's extending our range, right? We want to get really good with the basic concepts, the balls around us on defense and serve receive, and then we want to extend our range. And that's how we stand out, right? Only for All-American liberos? No, this is one of the athletes I work with in the Libero Academy as well, right? Take more court. And then when you do these highlight videos for athletes, don't send video of the balls just coming right at them. Do show and take, pass 2-man, figure out ways to show how great you can be as a libero, how you can extend the court, how you can lead as a libero. Because again, liberos are dime a dozens. Coaches don't want to watch athletes passing free balls. They want to see something different. This is a way to be different if you want to go play in college, right? Tip number 5, learn how to journal, right? This is the thing that gets me most excited about working with athletes. I want them to take more responsibility and more accountability in their journey. They're probably not going to have a good coach. Their coach is probably not going to coach them how they want to be, but that's okay. We need to be our own coach. More intention to start the day and be able to reframe and reflect tough moments as learning opportunities and moments for growth, right? One of the athletes I work with, I love this response. How did the tournament go? Gold, all tournament team. I felt like my mindset and only letting things that I can control affect me, help me throughout the whole tourney. That's it. Super proud of how we battled and how I was able to control myself and my emotions and not anything else. That's it. That's what I want my athletes to do, because volleyball will eventually end, and then they'll go get a job, husband, wife, and to be able to feel their emotions and not let it absolutely take control over them, right? So we talk about a lot in the Libero Academy about personal preferences, right? These things, they're not bad. Make the first team, get the Libero jersey, play well at college camps, pass at a high percentage, getting emails from a D1 school. These things are great, but they're targets. We put too much focus on it. We create our own suffering through the sport, and we lose the benefit of sport, right? And this is where club volleyball is right now, where it's just outcome focused. It leads to frustration, resentment, burnout. I'm sure a lot of you pick up your child from practice. How did it go? Today sucked. Today was awful. It's like, what do you mean, right? It's because it's outcome focused. And most athletes, especially females, it's like, well, it's either perfect or it sucked. So you got 1 out of 10 practices that were great, and everyone else sucks because I wasn't perfect, right? So we need a different framework. We need to think a little bit differently. But I know for parents, it's very difficult because you have that conditional relationship, right? That's where I get to come in with the Libero Academy as well. And we have a complete course on the mindset and journaling. And then when I did a future clinic, brought in the 5 best liberos on the women's and men's side, a presentation going over these concepts as well. All right. So again, I'm so passionate about this because this used to be me. Like, I was a bona fide scrub. I wasn't good at volleyball, right? I wasn't good at sports, but I really wanted to play sports in college, right? Freshman year of high school, I started in the spring, made a twos team. I put every hour into volleyball my first summer. Played every day with my dad on the beach, went home, hit the ball off the wall, hit the ball off the roof, hit the ball off the stairs, taught my younger brother how to pepper. But I just didn't really improve because, of course, I'm just hitting the ball off the wall. Like, I'm not really doing anything impactful, anything intentional, right? So as a professional, it took me a very long time, right, to get to that level. I invested in a visualization coach. I invested in a mindfulness coach, using a habit tracker, eventually a personal coach, hundreds of hours of video studying other liberos and myself. Most of those years, I didn't even know what I'm looking for. I'm watching the video, but I don't know what I'm looking for. And then I began writing about passing and digging in depth. That led to the first passing course. And then from me continuing to create more content, right? The thing is, none of these things were asked from my coach, my team, or my agent, right? These are things that I had to do myself, right? Also in the academy course of my visualization course coach, who is amazing. So what I felt, right, and what I see of athletes, everyone is working hard, especially now for female athletes. Volleyball is the #1 sport in America. Everyone's playing it, right? Pretty much everyone is working hard, all right? But focusing my efforts on more intentional actions provided more results over outcome-based goals. Remember, I want to pass well, I want to dig well. These things are great, but they're too vague. If you want to be great, we need to be very mindful of where we focus our energy, right? The window to excellence is small. Failure is a very beautiful gift. It's not your enemy, but for teenagers, it's very difficult to have this natural perception, right? And to have big dreams, for me, I had to take risk and work with more intention and finding different mentors, right? And when I talk with my athletes, one-on-one, athletes that come and work with me in the Libero Academy, every moment outside of training is meaningful. Doesn't mean you have to use every moment, but let's be intentional, right? What are we bringing in? What are we sacrificing? If we have huge goals, we should be sacrificing some time, right? Understanding the why I'm passing and defense is critical for consistent growth and improvement, rather than just saying yes to a coach who probably never played volleyball at a high level, probably never passed float serves that float. The game 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago was completely different. How most people coached the game was when people were hitting standing float serves, right? And so these are all the things that I learned and then have put back in Libero Academy, right? And put back into working with the athletes I've worked with, right? and working with Molly, who is a current athlete, and working with Mason, who's on the national team, Lexi now on the national team, Zoe now on the national team, and Ryan Merck, who's our current men's athlete, right? And using my failures to help them catch up, right? Because I believe we learn two ways. We learn through failure and we learn through awareness. Most athletes coming to me, they get a late start on volleyball and they're needed to play catch up. And they play catch up through awareness, right? And that's why I created Libero Academy, right? It's pretty cool. I was actually looking at this today. This is the old graphic, 746 videos. This was last February. Now there is, if you look at this, 1,600 videos and 61 courses, right? It's been really fun and just an absolute passion of mine, putting everything I've learned into this academy and bringing in the best liberos in the world and hearing what they have to say as well, right? And yeah, it's been really cool to be able to get this feedback and then to be a mentor, right? This is something with Mason, playing in the Pan Ams, and just things connecting from intention and training to actually working, playing with the national team. From Zoe, I thought this was a cool dig because I've been working on identified tips and roles. This isn't a ball I would have gone for early in my career, but I kind of surprised myself, right? So freaking fun to see athletes I work with take more responsibility, right? And it's not just the college athletes, it's the athletes in the academy. Sending video. Dustin, work on the split step. It's been amazing. Hey, I think my timing's a little late. What do you think on this? It's so cool to see these athletes take more responsibility and accountability in sport, knowing that this is going to transition to life. And then being there as a backboard for them. Hey, yeah, that looks good, but the split's actually a little bit late, right? Hey, it looks good on this one, but you want to open up more, not with the foot, but with the hip, right? And so that's why there's the Libero Life community form. And you can just see some of the posts, split step timing footwork, problems of staying calm. And these are all things that I've struggled with as well, because as I shared with my story, it wasn't so clear. And for the athletes that work in the Libero Academy, it's also the in-person. So we just had our winter clinics, and we had athletes from more than 15 states, and we had 5 athletes from Canada. And it was absolutely amazing. And so that's the goal, right? To help athletes have more clarity and confidence in a sport that can be very, very vague, knowing that liberos are the last in the totem pole to get the coaching, right? So I want to get you guys this PDF and answer questions. And then, yeah, the goal today is to get more athletes inside the Libero Academy and work with them for the next 12 years. It's been such a pleasure to work with athletes and see them progress. I've had some athletes in the Libero Academy now for the full 4 years that it's been available. And just to be able to see them work online and in person, it's been amazing, right? So it's been really cool. Yeah, I want to answer some questions and just a quick look at what's coming to the passing path. Again, I want to help athletes have clarity, right? Level 1, level 2, level 3. Where are they? They work on the split step that goes to the sweet spot, choose a side, being very specific so they can track their progress. And when they're struggling, they can send the video, go to a specific concept course, and work with specific drills that you can do in the backyard or in the gym rather than just leaving it to chance, right? Because what I see, and if a lot of my friends who are great people, right? Actually, I'm curious what you guys think. How are you guys investing? Because I have friends, one specific friend, great guy, middle blocker, 6'9". He does libero training. The reason he didn't play in the national team because he couldn't pass free balls and couldn't pass short serves, but he's coaching liberos, right? So this is something that I think is very difficult for me, and I get it for parents who don't know about volleyball. But if we're going to use another sport, it's like having a son who's a quarterback and you hire an offensive lineman to teach him how to throw. It doesn't make any sense. That person does play football, and they've heard terminology and they've heard the quarterback, but they haven't been in a situation where they've had to make those throws, where they've had to use those footwork. And so what I see a lot in coaches, they just speak in theory, hold the platform, makes sense. Wait, the ball floats, doesn't make sense, right? So I feel so disheartened for athletes who work with private coaches who are doing the best they can, but they don't feel what it feels like to do their best to pass float serves, shank it, and feel anxious. Do their best to dig a tip, and the ball goes into the net. What went wrong? I don't know. So this is, for me, it can become very difficult, right? And I can feel what the athletes feel, the anxiety of letting the teammates down, the anxiety of shanking a game point, the anxiety of missing a free ball pass. It's going to happen. It's okay. It's not a big deal, right? But the culture that athletes are growing up right now in social media, from coaches, win, 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 get the open bids, there's no room for failure. But what I know as a professional athlete, and speaking of some of the best athletes in the world on the national team and the Liberos I brought in, they're just the best at alchemizing failure, right? And again, this is why we have the visualization course inside the academy, the mindset and journal inside the academy. So again, it's been a fun journey and still seeking out the best liberos in the world. Sergio in Brazil, working with Zatorski in Poland, Kremenikov in France. When I was in Poland, I got to speak with 5 other high-level liberos. And again, just trying to learn as much as I can and continuing to bring in new concepts, right? The game is consistently evolving. It's not that I've stopped for such a long time, but the game is going to consistently evolve and being on the cutting edge to, again, help athletes have more clarity. The time that they're investing in training is actually going to correlate to them being confident in getting the results they want in games, rather than just feeling confused, frustrated, anxious, potentially ashamed. It's the worst thing to just see that face on an athlete because they just don't know what's going wrong. So I'm gonna answer more questions, but yeah, hopefully we can get more athletes inside the Libero Academy. It's been the coolest thing ever to have this community online, and then to have athletes who are working on these concepts online with their parents, with their private coaches, travel in and then work with me in person. So today, using this code, I'll send it again. Using this code to jump in, just use parent, 12 months, boom, and then $100 off today. And then let me get here and answer some questions as well. And if you guys have questions, just start pumping them through. Let's see what we have. Let's see, chat. We got 24 questions. That's awesome. Let's see. Can I talk about more about my camps or private lessons? Privates, I've actually not taken any new athletes right now. I don't know what's happened, but I've just had a surge of new athletes, and I want to be respectful of the current athletes I have. But what I ask is 8 sessions to start. I'm based in Long Beach, California. I always give the option, if a parent, a family wants to fly me in, they can just pitch it, and I'll just say yes or no. But I'm really not traveling on a lot right now. When I first started the business, I was traveling everywhere and completely got burned out. So I just stay local in Long Beach. For the camps, we max out on 16 athletes. I have another coach that works with me who coached in college for USC and Long Beach State. So he'd be my right-hand man. We did 8 clinics over the fall and winter. All of them sold out. So it's been great. Let's see. What do you do when club high school coaches don't teach a split step and some of the things like tracking midline? Yeah, with my athletes, you just got to humor them in practice. But here's the thing. They're like, hey, don't move your feet past midline. And you're like, yeah. And you go in the game and do these things, and you pass a 1.8 and they bench you. What's going to happen, right? You pass a 1.8 in front of that college coach. What's going to happen? So for me, you humor them in practice, and then when you're in the game, you just do it. The coach is probably not going to be coaching in the game, and then you just do it wrong. But, oh, sorry, right? But you gotta take care for yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, if you don't play in college, if you're not a starter, coach doesn't care. So even if coaches that are like, hey, you can never go with one hand, I'm like, it's the dumbest thing ever, right? You have to get balls with one hand sometimes. What causes an athlete to get benched? A lot of different things. Probably just not passing well. In general, it's like, if you're not playing well, like that's why you're getting benched. And the problem is the athlete doesn't know what they're doing wrong when they don't play well. Let's see. As of right now, we do not have libero camps scheduled. I'll probably do some for spring break. Libero specifically is being severely negatively impacted for high school kids by transfer portal thoughts. It's my opinion, like if you're an athlete and you really love the game, you really understand the game, you're really putting time into the game, it's great for you. But yeah, with the roster cuts to 18, there's going to be a lot less kids from high school coming into the portal. Let's see. Club is about winning. Technique is table stakes. I don't know if I understand that. Shoot, one sec. My dog is outside. I'll be right back and answer these questions. Okay, and you guys want to fire away more questions too. I'll get down to all these. I just really want to help you guys have more clarity for the season because it's crazy. How to manage my child's emotions and mentally when she's injured. The fear of her losing her position can be detrimental. So this is the big thing, right? So we talk about the dichotomy of control in the Libero Academy. So losing her position is something that is important to her, but it's not completely in her control. So let's go to the things that are completely in her control. You're injured. You can't play. So let's study the concepts. Let's get really clear. Let's get mental reps. Visualization and seeing things is shown to actually help you when you're on the court. So you can get a lot of these mental reps, right? Talk a lot about meditation, journaling. Now it's a good time to actually learn how to journal, right? So use the journal. I have the e-journal online. And then for athletes that come and work with me in the physical clinics, I have the physical journal as well. So these are where we build good habits and good routines. So when you come back and start playing again, you have these amazing routines and habits, right? So I think it's important to understand, yes, you could lose your spot, but let's not put our energy there. Let's put it somewhere else, right? Let's see. Daily drills. Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is the pocket passing. You can do this with your daughter, with your son. Go in the backyard, throw the ball at their chest, and they have to figure out how to open up, right? We have a lot of videos in the Libero Academy, very specifically the coaches one. Actually, do you guys want to see the Libero Academy? Do you guys want to see inside of it? I can show you really quickly that specific course too. Knowing I'm so good at my screen sharing. Let's see. Let me pull this up real quick and just show you some of the drills that you can use at home. Goji. Let me see. Here we go. So, where did this go? Gosh, I'm struggling. Okay. So let's say, for example, we have the Start Here course, Strain of Serginho, and we can see the concept courses, split step, high float serves. Here's the community forum. I'll show you guys real quickly. So this is where any athlete can come in and throw in video, right? So really cool. This athlete's been here for 3 years. He's plays for Barbados, best libero, best defender. Really cool to see these wins. But specifically, I'll check out some more of these courses. So again, we have 60, right? 60 courses to come in, a lot of concept courses, very specific things to work on, our mindset and journaling course, visualization course. We had a Japanese libero come in, serving course. And then let's see. So here's a course I did in speaking to the camera. It's a little different, right? But in regards to passing in the pocket. So I did this with a coach and a parent in mind, right? And so being able to speak to, let me see, to be able to speak towards the parent. So every course I've done, we have the raw film, and then we also have remastered. So what I'm talking about, I can explain it and show it for parents and athletes to understand what's going on, right? So we can see the drills, I explain it, and then how you can do it with your athlete. Because again, there's just not going to be very specific coaching. And if your athlete is playing catch up, it's kind of more or less SOL, right? So with the split step, this is something you can do at home as well with tape, real easy. Explain how tennis players do it, how it's going to be a little different for volleyball athletes. Tennis athletes, baseball athletes go forward. I think it's important that we just reset. So we take a prep step forward and then we reset. And we can see examples on the court. I show you how I used to do it, how other athletes do it, how Lexi does it. And then just getting really clear and again, why it's important, common mistakes, what are the best athletes in the world to do, all the different styles you can use, and then drills to use it. So split step, choose a side, tracking. These are all things you can do at home. You don't need the gym. The gym is expensive. You can't always get privates, but you can still get this working, right? Again, different ways to use it. This is the athlete I work with at Penn State. He does a different one. So just showing all the different styles, because for me, it's really important that an athlete can be able to choose their own style. It's going to be much more fun that way. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what else. Questions. Somebody just asked for the link again. Boom. Here you go. So use the code parent, $100 off. Easy. And then that's for the next 12 months, all the courses, the feedback, and then access to the clinics. My clinics are only for Libero Academy athletes. I want to keep the level high. I've been very fortunate that a lot of athletes want to come, but it's not daycare. I just want to work with athletes who have big goals in volleyball. At the very minimum, and very passionate about improving. Where it's not a daycare. It's not for fun. We're coming 5 hours of very specific training, right? So when I do it in Long Beach, and sometimes when I travel and do it, it's just Libero Academy members. So we have the highest framework of understanding of the concepts. And so I speak less and we can train more rather than just dumbing it down and having to speak and explain a lot, right? Let's see. How to manage my child's emotions when they're injured. Did that. Gym sessions off court time. So, yep. Northern California. I might work with a club out there. How can an athlete learn on their own and stay motivated? I think this is where you journal with them. So a journal mindset course, let me be the bad guy, use my framework and journal with them. It's so easy. 3 things we're grateful for. What's my intention today? They use this for practice. 3 things that are completely in my control that I want to focus on. Okay. Taking more responsibility. I want to get to practice early, get extra reps. I want to stay after practice and stretch. Before bed, I'm going to shut off my phone and I'm going to take 5 minutes to meditate and build my awareness, knowing that when I get into games, I can feel overwhelmed, I can feel stressed, but if I meditate and build my awareness, I can come back to my breath and get to the next point, right? These are things you can do if you're an athlete, and I think it's really easy. Some of my athletes journal with their parents as well. At the end of the day, 3 things I'm proud of, right? Because usually for athletes, it's just like, well, today sucked. It was awful. 3 things you're proud of. Biggest challenge. What did I learn from that challenge? What do I want to improve tomorrow? What can I do differently tomorrow? So they're just consistently working with intention, consistently reflecting and alchemizing difficult moments rather than just like, today was good. Today sucked. Today was good. Today sucked. Suck. And we lose the benefit of sport, right? Let's see. So the whole like convincing the coach thing is very difficult. Again, I work with an athlete from A5. She's on the 17s ones team. And I heard the best thing ever. The coach said, hey, you do things differently than we teach, but you're playing at such a high level. Just keep on doing it. This is the best thing ever, right? And that's the goal. At the end of the day, if you pass well, it's going to work out. Here's like my passing philosophy in general. You need to get the ball here on the platform. If you don't get it here, it's not going to be a good pass. We want as many contacted points as possible. So if the ball floats, I have all these contact points. But to get there, I need to be balanced right before I pass. And then open up my hip. Because when the ball floats and I don't have enough room, I can't contact it here. Right? And then one of the things as well is just shape the ball. If you tell a non-volleyball player, hey, if you want to pass it there, just finish to the target. They're going to be like, that makes so much sense. And if you tell someone who's played volleyball, finish to your target, they're going to be like, no, I should just hold my platform. It's the silliest thing ever, right? If you just hold your platform every single ball, the results are going to vary because the ball floats and it's hard to track. Again, this is where a lot of confusion and anxiety come in. We have a full course just on shaping the ball. From the best libero in the world, Sergio, talking about it. I asked him, hey, do you hold your platform? He's like, no. Has anyone told you? No. And he's like, he is so confused. I'm like, you don't hold your platform? He's like, that's the dumbest thing in the world. You shape it. You finish it. You finish. The ball floats, and when it floats, we move our hips and our chest away from the target. So we either take the shank or we finish it, right? Let's see, Hagen, can my child be successful if I cannot afford a 500 group private with Dustin? Yeah, I mean, this is why I have the Libero Academy. So I have different tiers of athletes that want to work with me. As the Libero Academy has grown, every year it's 200 to 500 more videos. Like, I'm very passionate about meeting athletes where they are, right? I have a lot of free content on Instagram, but it's just going to depth, right? Instagram, the videos are a minute long. Where on the Libero Academy, the minutes are 5 to 12 minutes, and there's 1,600 videos. So yeah, the investment, I think, with the discount is $30 a month. So in California, that is about 4 times less than 1 hour private. And there, again, there's a lot of work that you can do just in the backyard. And then to take this work and then go to a private, take this work and use it in team training. We wanted, for me, it's to be very efficient with the time we're investing, because the time is running out. Am I investing my time in things that don't really correlate and make sense? Or am I actually investing my time with very specific concepts and intentions that will correlate not only with positive outcomes, but with the athlete being more confident and clear, right? Defensive positioning, I have a course on this in Libero Academy as well. There's so many different things to talk about. The passing path has 18 different concepts. The digging path has 15 different concepts. So just there's 33 concept courses. In those courses, anywhere from 6 to 18 videos on each of those. Any question you can think about, I've created a video for it, and probably 10 videos about it. So yeah, it's been really fun just continuing to go more and more in depth, right? Defensive positioning in general, find space, understand what your blocker is going to do when they're late. Don't let the ball hit the ground, right? We'll go into a little bit more detail in regards to how we can move, how can we create range. with our body, with our hips, with our hands. So yeah, I love going deep into detail. Signed up, mahalo. I love it. Is there anyone in here that is in the Libero Academy already? Bringing her back. Notice the difference when we were in. I love it. What's the reason why coaches don't like the split step? There is a large group of coach. We'll say it's a business, right? I won't say the name, and they don't teach it. So they're like, no, don't do it. And more or less everyone listens to them. And they're smart people, right? They've done a lot of good job. They've done a lot of great work for the volleyball community. But it's just like, it's old stuff, right? You just watch professional volleyball. Everyone does it. It doesn't make any sense why we can't do what professionals are doing, right? Maybe there's some skills that can't transition down to youth athletes, but the concepts can, right? Getting to the ball. Oh, do I have a short and simple method when you commend a player 15s to forget a bad pass? Big thing is meditation. We need to train our awareness, right? I can feel anxiety. I can feel shame, and I don't attach myself to it. Something easy I like is to step on the end line, find a crack, step on it, and that's just like get to the next ball, right? Because if I'm in the past with the shame or in the future, ambiguous, scary future, I'm not present. And if I'm not present, I'm losing my confidence, my aggression, my presence, my communication. So this is very important to have athletes think about, right? Is there a sequencing to your video so a young athlete can digest systematically without parental guidance? Yeah, I mean, I have all the concepts, and what I've been working on in last year is a very specific path with the passing path. So we have 18 concepts, and that will be released soon. All the concept courses are there. Now it's creating a script. How can I adjust my hands for overhead passing? In general, just go in. Too much variability here. Too much variability, balls come through. As a libero, how should I position myself? Outside of position 4, tends to hit deep shots. Just line up the hitter. The defensive positioning stuff, it's basic. I get this question all the time. You just find space. You got to find space and then understand how to dig balls with your hands, right? Don't do anything with your legs. This is something I see a big mistake. People lose their legs. We talk about this in the defensive positioning course. How often do I suggest a 14, 15-year-old girl work out on a weekly basis? It's just whatever her motor is. Canada, I'm probably not coming in there. Already a member of the Spiker Academy. Do you suggest the 6-year-old outside also subscribe to this Libero Academy? Just pop in there for a month, and the Libero Academy, I go into so much more depth on passing. So yes. Does beach volleyball help with being a libero? Absolutely. Okay. 3-year Libero Academy member. I love it. Guys, hit me if any more questions. Oh, here's a scouting sheet. Download this. Scouting sheet. Boom. We're on that. Just easy. Easy with the scouting sheet. Just use it, print it out, bring it to tournaments. For the athletes that work with me, it's in the book. I have, I think, about 20 sheets in the book. The book is so freaking cool. I love it so much. So use that. Go to the Libero Academy. I'll teach your athlete how to scout video. It's so basic. But again, there's not a lot of libero coaching. Like when people say, hey, scout the server, what does that mean? Well, it was my job for 13 years, so I understand how to do it, right? So, guys, any last questions? Here's my goal. I just love mentoring more liberos. That's what I want to do. I want to help more liberos do what they love at a higher level. DS is to go to liberos. Athletes go from the 3rd team to the 2nd team to the 1st team. It is just such a cool feeling for me to be a mentor on their journey, knowing that a lot of parents can help, but there's that conditional relationship, right? It's a little weird. Or I can come in and, hey, what do you feel about this? I'm stressed, anxious, journaling, stressed, anxious, meditation, right? And I preface a lot of these things, especially the emotional intelligence, with me failing. Well, yeah, I was resentful. I was cut. I was benched. I was so resentful, but it didn't work, right? So there's always a better way. And it's taking more accountability and responsibility for a teenager, though, they just don't have awareness of what to do. And then it's mom and dad telling you what to do. And it's like, well, whatever, mom and dad. And so it's really fun for me just mentoring liberos and then seeing them be a more confident version of themselves. What is advice you give my daughter who is 14 and 5 feet? Just be a great libero. And when I say libero, passing. Don't even focus on defense. Defense for me, whatever. It's basic. Just get under the ball. We need to put more time into passing and passing floaters that float. If you can pass floaters, you're going to play. Lexi wasn't the best defender, but she is an all-world receiver, so she's going to play. She's going to play for Nebraska. She's going to be an All-American. She's going to go to the national team. She'll probably be the national team libero because she can pass. Passing's it. You can really hurt your team if you're not a good passer. You can really help your team if you're a good passer. You can kind of help your team as a good defender. Just put everything into passing. What is the video that trains on scouting servers and hitters? I believe it's called the scouting. Let me see. I'll pull it up real quick. I think it's serving. Gosh darn it. A hotkey. Scout. It's called Scouting and Reading the Server. I'll show you guys real quick. And then any last questions, I'll pull this up. So you can see here the breakdown, Zoe. All right. And we can see finding very specific strategies, right? It's really cool because when we do this work, I have my athletes, my one-on-one athletes, scout pros as well, right? Those scout pros, and then we'll go over the video. And this is just easy, right? You just go in and check out these, and then you can see this is a Final Four team. She just hit every single ball in area 1. What is the libero doing? Well, they're hiding their worst passer, but they don't need to hide their worst passer because this server only has one serve. So there's just like small things like this where the athlete's in the game and they're going to feel more confident. I know what to do. I remember what this server does, rather than just, you're just a sitting duck and you have no idea what is going on. Okay, last couple questions. What is the first video course to watch? What would be the second? Split step, and then choose a side. I think is the most important. You can start with the Start Here course, and then again, we'll be upgrading the academy soon. It's really cool. We'll have a AI feature, and then we'll have the passing path, the digging path, and then also setting courses as well. So it's fun. I'm going to meet with a specialist for this website. It's called Thinkific. I'm going to meet with a specialist on Tuesday, invest a ton of money back into it, but it's going to be a lot better. So that's what I love. Awesome. Guys, last link. Here it is. Use the code PARENT, $100 off, easy. And then, yeah, you'll get an email. Have your athlete introduce yourself, where they're at, what they're struggling with, and what their goal is, right? I'm very, 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 very happy to be alongside in their journey, for them to share video, drills they're doing, what went wrong, what am I doing in the game, why did I shank this ball, I didn't really get it. I want them to have more clarity and confidence, so again, they can take more responsibility and accountability. I don't want to be this like daddy coach that they have to come to me. I want them to understand the game at a higher level so they can coach themselves, right? And it just becomes more fun like that. Growth mindset. When you fail, you're like, I know what happened. Okay. I know what happened. Oh, it worked. Oh, that was cool, right? And so they're just consistently failing and learning, rather than it was good, I'm happy. It was bad, I'm sad. So awesome. Guys, I love, I think we got 8 people signed up. That's awesome. Signed up, Mike. Thank you, Kevin. Guys, any last question I can answer? And then, yeah, I'll keep this offer up for 2 days. And I will send out a video of this recording as well if you guys want to go back I want to meet you guys where you're at. You know, like I said, the highest is the privates and the group lessons, the Libero Academy, and the free content. I want to be able to find everyone where they're at. One of the courses inside the Libero Academy, Sergio, it's free. When I went to Brazil, I worked with Sergio, the best libero in the world. I want to make it free. He's such an inspiration. Most Brazilians don't have this money, this disposable income, right? I played in Brazil. I know what it is. So I just made it free. I want to find people where it's at. But often when there's buy-in, there's more responsibility taken in the process. I've learned the hard way making things free. People just don't use it. So what's the point? Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your evening. For those on the East Coast, thanks for staying up. And then you guys always have questions, just let me know. Thanks so much.